Well, thanks everybody for being here tonight for the club session tonight in the Marketing and Sales Club together with Gigi from Heidelberg Cement. Gigi, thanks very much for being with us tonight and for talking about the impact of COVID-19 on B2B marketing and how it impacted the industry, your industry. Maybe just one little more piece of marketing. I would be very happy to see all of you in during homecoming on November 28th, virtually, of course, but we have a few surprises for you, and I think it's going to be very cool. We have a pretty cool, we have a pretty prestigious keynote speaker. Obviously not as prestigious as tonight, but with Mr. Ingo Zamperoni from the ZDF, who will talk about. We'll give you some food for thought. It'll be, I can't really disclose what we're going to talk about as of now, but it'll just let me say that he was in Washington during the recent election of President-elect Mr. Joe Biden. So that'll be very, very interesting. And yeah, that was it from my side. Gigi, thanks very much for being here with us tonight. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule, and I think we're all very, very eager to hear what you have to say, and also to ask a lot of questions after you're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yes, so I'm going to be starting sharing my screen directly, right? So thank you all for participation. Hello from my side as well, and as Jens already mentioned, my name is Gigi. He is very smart guy and didn't mention my surname. He is very right because it's very complicated. So it's just Gigi is better. So I am a member of Mannheim and ESSEC Executive MBA class of 2020. And so we graduated in June, but you know, for the obvious reasons, we did not have graduation ceremony yet. But the most important thing is that we keep safe, and then everything will come when time comes. So today I will be speaking about the impact of COVID-19 on B2B marketing and sales. I will try at least. I work for Heidelberg Cement Group in the field of sales and marketing. And as you would all agree, sales is quite sensitive topic, and sales strategy is quite sensitive topic for every company. So if you allow me, I will do to that. I will be talking and I will be speaking about my subjective views, and I will try to back it up with some really interesting materials that I think they really need to be looked at. So actually, there will be more questions in my presentations, to be honest, than the answers, because one smart guy said that sometimes questions are more important than the answers, and I fully agree with that. And also, we discussed with Jens to make this session really different and really special, and so that not I speak only, but you know, we have a good brainstorming and the Q&A session, and so we really discuss things and keep moving forward. Before I start, once again, sorry for repeating myself, but I have to give some special thank yous and kudos, first of all, to Mannheim Business School for allowing us, the alumni of Mannheim Business School, to keep in touch with the school, with the university, and in the society. And yes, once again, special thanks to you. We, the alumni, let's say ex-students and future students, I'm sure are really appreciating what you are doing for all of us. So thank you for that. So very short snapshot of what we're going to talk today. I'm going to give you just a few realities of what this pandemic brought to us. They will sound really simple and maybe stupid, but I think we all agree that they are really important. Then about current situation, I will bring up some studies, some let's say snapshots from some studies which I really think they are really important, and what happened from January till April, and then from April till today, and most importantly, what will happen in the future. By the way, if I may ask, any fortune teller now on the call? No, that's too bad, because we need one now, you know, especially during these difficult times. And in the end, yes, as I mentioned, so let's brainstorm and let's discuss. By the way, Let me provide you one, let's say, phrase, one of my favorite phrases I read recently, that there is no more B2B and B2C. It's about age to age. It's about human to human. And this was said by Brian Kramer. He's, as you can see, famous business strategist and global keynote speaker. Let's call him a smart guy. And he has also the book with exactly the same name. I would really recommend to all of you to read this. And this could be a kind of also a loud thinking, a kind of idea, yes, for you, that in the future, maybe you can also concentrate this on this age to age attitude or age to age sessions or whatever, because it really matters, you know, like we are talking about B2B and B2C, but in the end, it does not matter, in my opinion as well. It's all about human and human interaction. You know? So let's talk about a few simple things, and if we were ready for this, let's say we, as you know, as you agree, we do not meet each other anymore. I know as we met, as we were meeting before the pandemic. So we are having the web conferences, the video calls, let's say the online meetings, but we don't meet each other, and our personal meetings are really limited. Accordingly, based on that, we don't shake hands anymore. I told you it will sound simple and stupid, but you know, handshake, maybe it's not so important for someone who is working in the plant or who is in the production or making some desktop analysis or some financial, let's say, projections. But I'm sure you agree that for the sales people, for the sales, the handshake is really important. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and then there was one very smart individual, and he said something like this. He said that there are some B2B industries which are based on in-person meetings and handshakes. And maybe it sounds really, let's say, sounds really high, maybe, but you know, I think there is some truth about this. What do you think? We can discuss this afterwards during the Q&A as well. Also, we don't have too many chances now to have these personal product solution demonstrations with our customers, right? So it's and now some of you can criticize me. Okay, this is maybe more B2C, but okay, in B2B as well, you know, in our company as well. For instance, the personal meetings, personal demonstrations of our products, the industrial tests, industrial, let's say, things. This is very important. So we don't have this opportunity anymore. So how will this reflect on our industry? And in general, we are not traveling anymore. So for instance, I was traveling like more than 50% of my time. Now I travel 0% of my working time. So, you know, and I'm sure people who are working in the global departments like I do, which we don't have like too many our direct customers, but we are responsible to support different countries to deliver the value for our final customers, right? So as we are limited, you know, we have to think about what should we change, what should we adjust. So all these four simple things, which sound simple, have tremendous impact on us. So now let's ask the $1 million question. So how will this impact on marketing and sales of a small, medium-sized, or large corporations? Yeah? So I think it's a very simple but very important question. And what I tried to do when I was preparing for the presentation, I tried to find, let's say, few opinions, few possible answers to that question. And I'm really interested on your versions as well. So that's why I really propose you that we have this very active Q&A session. So opinion number one, only small companies should be worried. Those large brands are already established, and this will not bring any harm for them. So I think this opinion has a right to exist, and you know, we can disagree, but you know, we can have this respectful disagreement. We have opinion number two. After a few months or a year, COVID-19 will disappear, and everything will be the same as before. There will be no need for the companies to change or even adjust anything. We just have to show a little bit more patience. And to be honest, in February, I was thinking exactly the same way. I was absolutely sure that in a couple of months, this whole thing will disappear and we would go back to our, let's say, old normal. But I was unfortunately very wrong. Opinion number 3, no big deal at all. Again, large companies, especially B2B, they already have strong brand awareness, loyal customers, fixed long-term contracts, and sales processes for their key accounts. So nothing will change for them. Well, once again, the opinion has right to exist, right? Opinion number 4, I was discussing recently with my MBA mate, Jerome Goblet. I think Jerome is online. So Jerome, thank you for that. And then he provided me this very interesting insights, like, because, you know, there are some opinions that because of this COVID-19, we are entering this V-shaped economy, V-shaped recovery. So like it would like start decrease and then drastically would go up. So like V-shaped, but that's I think not the case. Then there are some opinions to have this U-shaped, like U-shaped economy after this COVID-19, like it starts decreasing, then it's a little bit gradual, and then start, let's say, extending. But I think that's not the case as well. And then some people are also talking about W-shaped economy, like drastic drop, then increase, then drastic drop, then increase. But there are also people who think that we are talking about K-shaped economy. So that, which means that the upper half are those with investments, equities, and stocks in the fast-moving firms, while the lower fit of the K is the restaurants, the theaters, entertainment, conferences, airlines, and hotels. So, if I may, I cannot be 100% sure precise, but the lower part is more B2C oriented, right? And the upper part is more B2B oriented. So, one can conclude that the B2B, we are more safe in this case, right? And it's obvious that, for example, construction industry, we are more lucky, for instance, than the airlines or the restaurants, yes? But I still don't agree. I still don't agree with this K-shaped thing, because I still think that, you know, I still want to think that there will be some more positive development. So there will be no this, you know, like the people which will, or the industries which will go below and then we go up. So a famous independent commentator on the financial markets, by the way, I would recommend everyone to see his blogs, and I know this from Jerome, is that Chris Skinner. Let's say he would suggest that the lower part is physical and the upper part is more digital. And this is something that I really agree with. So the thing is that what we see here is that those firms dependent upon physical engagement are suffering and will suffer. And the firms who are more engaging digitally, they will prosper, they will thrive. So this is something that's really important. And I think this K-shaped economy, K-shaped recovery is becoming very popular nowadays. So now we mentioned that, you know, some opinions that, you know, large brands, they don't have to worry about anything. And trust me, these opinions, what I wrote here, they were based on several other individuals that I have met and then talked during these difficult times. Let me remind you something. Let us remind ourselves, because I'm sure you are aware better than me that, you know, many years ago, one very smart man said that, but even a great brand needs investment and caring if it's going to maintain its relevance and vitality. So this man who we all know, he said this in 1997. So 23 years ago, about 23 years ago. So when there was no Corona and when there was no any digital disruption or any digital transformation, you know, so let's call this period a very calm and quiet and stable time. And even then, this very smart man said that, you know, every brand needs investment and caring. So now what I would say that these difficult times, it's even more crucial and then more let's say important that, you know, the large brands, not only the small size and medium size, they really take care of this. So it's really, I really don't agree with the opinion that the pandemic will not do anything to these big and strong companies in B2B industries, right? So let me now provide you one chart which I think it's really interesting, and I really like it actually. I mean, I don't like the content, to be very honest, but I like it because it really shows and really helps to think strategically. So, and by the way, these figures from McKinsey are just from January to April. And so, and what does it show? What does it show to us? It shows us that more than 90% of B2Bs have transitioned to virtual sales model during COVID-19. So we are talking about really huge numbers here. For instance, I just highlighted US and China, but you know there are a lot of other things to highlight here. I'm sorry about that. But no, let's look about China. Like 25% all field sales transitioned to working in digital via video conferencing, and then 25% for China. It's not even huge. It's like double, triple huge number, right? US 40% already transitioned totally to digital, and then you can see, for example, in Chinese case, just 2%, nothing changed. All field sales force is still visiting customers. So just 2% in B2B sector in China still visiting customers. I think this is very, very significant and very important number. And in US, for instance, 5%, just 5% still having this old way of doing it and still visiting customers. So 40% totally changed to the virtual, and 34% partially changed. Okay, 18% face-to-face sales force working via video, also partial change, I would say. So when I saw this chart in the first time, to be honest, I was quite worried, and I was quite, let's say, asking myself like, okay, this is from January to April, right? But after April, okay, we had little kind of recovery. Correct me if I'm wrong. We had a little, let's say, improvement from Corona side, but then we have now second wave. Yes. So I'm really interested. What will this graph look like when the McKinsey will update it? For instance, from January till January 2021. This will be really interesting, and unfortunately, I'm afraid there will be much more black and much more blue in this chart. Yes. So and this is something that I'm sure that companies should start thinking of, and we should start thinking about this. Then another thing, let me continue with Gartner. We had very good, let's say, conclusion here that by 2025, 80% of B2B sales interactions between suppliers and buyers will occur in digital channels. So this quite corresponds the slide which I showed you before with McKinsey. So it means that these guys are doing something logical, some logical researches. So the thing is that by 2025, so if you are in B2B, I'm B2B, if 80% will be done digitally, what should I change? What should the companies change or adjust? So that's why I put down a few questions, and then I'm really eager to hear from you what else questions should we put more, or what questions does not sound logical, and so on. So what we have to ask ourselves, right? What impact will this have on our companies, right? Really important. What impact will this have on sales organizations, on sales approaches? Because selling something physically and selling something digitally, I think there's a difference there, and it requires different skill set and so on. Then what new skills will we need to develop more based on this? Which new skills should we develop more based on this situation? What are the actions that we should take immediately, not after 5 or 10 years? Who knows what will happen there? Because, and what I was also thinking is that I am concentrated now only on companies, but I think yes, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I think the educational institutions also should think about this, and they should also think about their portfolio, because I don't want to sound very critical and pessimistic, but I think this pandemic will also have an impact on the portfolios of the educational institutions, because skills and professions, will be impacted with this. And so what kind of new skills and new professions will be needed in the future? Let's see what happens. Which digital system should we focus on more? And mindset, I think most important, how we should, let's say, adjust, and how agile we should be, and let's say, fit the situation, fit the change. Then another thing from Gartner is that what they are saying is that 60% of B2B sales will be done not like intuition based, but will be data driven selling. Yeah. So and we are talking about data driven selling. We are talking about the big data, and then we have to ask again the same questions to ourselves, or let's say every company should ask the same questions to themselves, or more questions also to themselves. And when we are talking about data, then we are talking about clean data. We are talking about, let's say, precise data. So this also, let's say, requires a lot of effort, a lot of resources, a lot of investment, right? So these kind of things. The digital disruption, as you all know, it started already before the pandemic, right? And then the pandemic now, if I may use this word, accelerated it twice, 3 times, 4 times more. Yes. So let's say we have to now be much faster and much quicker in this kind of thing. Then let me provide you one, let's say, because I'm talking about problems, I'm talking about questions, I'm asking questions, and there are a lot of researches, there are a lot of material out there. But I like this most. Let's say, what should we do right now? And what should be the, let's say, best approach now from the companies, from the B2B, in regards of sales. And McKinsey, and BCG really put down these 4 R's. Like these 4 R's, which we are talking about: respond, reflect, reimagine, and rebound. And to be very honest, the main reason why I like this chart so much, not, of course, I like the content and all this, the process, but they are suggesting to set up a virtual commercial war room. And this is something really, really cool. Some of you maybe agree with me, maybe disagree. The thing is that we are at war now, and our enemy is this invisible COVID, which we do not see. And I think invisible enemy is even more dangerous than the visible enemy. And so setting up this virtual commercial war room, I think it sounds really good. And I think companies really should let's say, follow this in a different ways, of course. So the response. So we are talking about that how the company should respond very quickly and, let's say, very efficiently to the current situation. They support customers, and to really find out their needs and to really meet their needs and their wishes and their wants. So as you can see, this response part is quite, let's say, kind of a marketing thing, because really understanding the current, not the needs of the customer, but the current needs of the customers, because the pandemic kind of shaped a little bit, I would say, yes, the needs of the customers. So to really be active, really be involved with the customers, engaging immediately with the sales. And then they reflect, the reflect, one of my favorite word is that how should we reflect on this? We should revisit our business plans and then scenarios, and track the pipelines, because, for example, pipelines are really important now, because for some strong economies like Germany, for instance, currently it seems to be like everything is going really well, especially in construction industry. Like it's really, you can see, I'm sure, a lot of trucks carrying the concrete and cement around everything. But these are current projects which are running. But the pipelines, the project pipelines are really important to really should be paid attention. And then this how certain economies, then these are uncertainties going on in every aspect, and especially, not especially, but in B2B as well. So then reimagine sales regain momentum. So digitization, like go-to-market strategies, very important. The foundation in terms of data and CRM, of course, becoming really important and more important now than the before pandemic, because as you know, we are all digital, almost all digital, tracking emerging trends and executing in an agile way. So this reimagining sales is really important. So because simply and stupidly, maybe, sales will be different than the sales was before. And so I am quite confident in that. Then the rebound by pivoting sales. So scale e-commerce, for instance, now e-commerce, as you know, was always important for the B2C, but and it was becoming important for B2B as well, but now it will become very important for B2B as well, because of the current situation. So, sometimes I was thinking when, there are a lot of rumors and like stupid jokes, right? Like why this pandemic happened and how did this happen? And, some people are thinking that there was controversial things like it was created by someone intentionally and so on in China or somewhere, if someone wanted to create this pandemic intentionally, I'm sure it was these e-commerce guys and the guys who are providing the digital tools for the industries, right? But that's okay. That's of course I'm joking, but e-commerce is really flourishing now. So also I would let's say pay attention to deploy agile teams and conduct value-focused sprints, and to have really value-based selling, not just product selling or let's say the solution selling, but value-based selling is really important. And so we went through these external and internal factors, internal actions. So let's say I think that this approach, and to be honest, I'm not a fan of I'm not a big fan of these consultant firms, but I'm absolutely sure that it really works to read some of their material, and especially in this B2B side, this BCG article is really important, and if I will check it with Jens, but I think Jens, we can circulate this as well together with presentation, so afterwards, right? So I'm very open to provide all the sources from BCG, Gartner, and McKinsey, whatever I used for my presentation. So in the end, what I liked from this article was that the COVID-19 poses a major challenge, of course, for all of us in the short run, and hopefully, let me add something here. Hopefully, not on the long run. Let's be optimistic anyway, right? Let's be realistic, but also optimistic. But it also offers the opportunity to transform the sales organization, that will help companies come out of the crisis stronger. And I really believe in this, that that we have to take this as an opportunity. And what I would say is that let's be positive and perceive this crisis not as a sales challenge, but as a sales opportunity. And so now that was my last quote, and I thank you for your attention, and I'm really looking forward. I wanted to make it really short because I would really love to have a discussion with you, and then any comments, critics, remarks from your side, very welcome.
Thank you very much. All right, guys. Here we go.
How should I make this bigger again?
Break the ice?
We need somebody to break the ice.
Cool. Hi, Gigi, Apurv here. So I actually just started in a new job, which is, surprise, surprise, a construction chemicals company. Very similar to your field, yeah. But we buy from companies like the raw materials like cement. There's one point which I saw on one of your earlier slides, which is the personal contact in terms of product demonstrations. From the beginning of the lockdown, or when you could not travel or people could not travel, how are you as a company in Heidelberg dealing with this obstruction of, showing people things? Because I think at the end of the day, you can show them really beautiful slides, but if you have something to hold in your hand and show it to a person how it works, that stays in your brain much longer. At least that's what I believe. So how are you guys dealing with it till now?
Thanks, Apur, for your question. Really good one. So look, I think you agree with me that in case of construction, we don't have a product that needs a very frequent demonstrations and showing to the customers. But of course, we let's say all our labs are still working, and they are let's say all these samples, for concrete samples, cement samples, and everything, we are delivering to our customers with according to the safety measures and so on. So we are really inside of let's say following the safety instructions. We are really doing our best to meet our customer needs. So it is really tough times, but on demand. We are doing this on demand, and I absolutely agree with you. You cannot check the quality of the concrete from here, right? If I tell you this is good concrete, you will not believe me. So I have to bring it to you and show it to you. So we are really doing this. We are quite good in this. So it still continues, but we are not the only company in this B2B world, right? So there are other companies that having this kind of challenges, and also the customer visits we are still trying to maintain, but they are limited. They are limited, of course.
Just a follow up. I mean, if we can leave. If you don't look at Germany, because I would say the freedom of movement was not as restricted in Germany, but for example, if you see countries like Spain or like India, where they had a long duration of where people were just not allowed to go out and had to stay at home. How did you guys manage over there?
Absolutely. Look, from the McKinsey slide, just let me go back there. It was like in India, I didn't mention it, but 56% is switched totally to digital. Yeah. So look, yes, it's tough, but our guys are still managing it, and let's say with all these PPEs, the masks and everything. So the delivering all the samples and having let's say as much customer interaction as possible. Of course, there's limited. For instance, for the construction world, exhibitions are really important. I'm sure you agree with me. And one of my friend told me that he attended a virtual exhibition, and he was not happy about it. He wasn't happy. Okay, everything new is new, and you have to let's say get used to it. But the first reaction from this virtual exhibition was not so positive. So it's a difficult times, but we are still managing to meet all our customers' needs and then satisfy them, even in India. So don't worry too much about it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
so maybe I can make a statement, Jens. I'm currently very much diving into the artificial intelligence part of the world. It's impressive what right now is taking off there. So I think in times to come, artificial intelligence in any way, I'm even using it for my newest startup in terms of looking at how you can improve your product, but separate from that is how you can serve your clients best. And you have in these days possibilities in terms of using certain software that can read your behavior, really on a neuro-linguistic programming level. Sorry, I was nearly breaking my tongue on that one. But also in terms of other behaviors that, if you have high amounts of data going through, you can really make impressive interpretations. So I would see what is happening right now will give a huge shove in that direction. So it's the deep learning, which has a lot to do with the language part, the visual part, and how we perceive things, as we all know, that is very important in interaction between humans. That will start playing up very fast now, faster than before. And I agree with your number. It will most likely have already quadrupled at this point. It's a development which is going to be much bigger than internet.
Absolutely, Paul. I remember you were involved in educational
yes.
startup. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
So very interesting. Very interesting.
Exactly. So for the learning
I'm
code,
sure you are thinking about all these
yes.
things, right?
Yeah, so we need to think ahead of the game, which is fairly tough because many of these things today that we're talking about are not yet available or not yet, out of I said it, sufficiently developed. Mm-hmm. But we're very aware of that in the setup of our architecture and how to think about it. So it's purely looking at the areas where can artificial intelligence generate value. That's one. Secondly, how can we use it in sales processes? So the before B2B will no longer apply as much as it did before. It will start looking differently, and you need to adapt. And like I said, guys, artificial intelligence, if we talk in 5 years, I think we'll be astonished to see what happened in meanwhile in our lives. But like I said, I've been diving into this now for the last 2 months very actively, and it's amazing. It goes today for companies that you can do the selection through bots, what they already can do, how you can read behavior of people and see if they're a good fit for your organization to be working with, yes or no. The data that will flow through the system if we're interacting as we are right now, what they can derive in terms of information from you as a person or groups, and that they can differentiate you. So imagine what's going to come. I just wanted to make a small statement about that one, just that we're aware. I saw that you made a brief mention of it. Thank you so much, Gigi, for presenting this. So that was hopefully an interesting insight for people not as active in that field yet, but trust me, it's coming.
Thank you.
There was one question about Shivankit in the chat. Would you want to ask that or?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Gigi. So I'm just wondering regarding the statistic that you shared, right? That more around close to 80 or 90% of the B2B sales will be moving to online channels. So yes, I agree for some industries, like you have the software industries, you have the CRP industries, their software licenses, the sales of the software licenses will definitely move to the B2B sales part will often, of course, move to online channels. But for example, you have petrochemical industries, such type of industries. So how will be the behavior over there? Yeah. Because how will you sell the products over there via online channels, right?
Yes. Look, very good question, Shivankit. Thank you. Look, let's imagine something like this. Let's imagine that you have to sell a ball, yeah. And so you want to sell me a ball, and you are showing me the ball. For example, now I'm playing a football, and then you're telling me, okay, this is good, this is best quality, blah blah blah, and I'm watching you, and then I have to believe you, yeah. So. Right. You have to be highly believable sales guy, and you have to do your best to persuade me to buy this ball, And so that's what I was mentioning when I was mentioning that, in this kind of environment, the new set of skills, new skill set will be required for the sales people, because we are talking about sales organization, yes. And also the industry, the petrochemicals and everything, is the same, right? So if you are not able, and hopefully this will not be a case, if you are not able to meet your customer personally, or at least if you are not able to, let's say, meet at least for 2 meter distance, right? And then you need to be really like this Jordan Belfort guy, like to really persuade
Exactly.
online to buy this product or to stay with you, and then to outperform the competition, So that's what I'm. That's my kind of theory that in the future companies should double the investment in the HR, in the salespeople. So because selling virtually, selling with mask, selling without handshake, selling by phone, and so on. This is a little bit different, And for instance, I had a case that I was talking to one person, and on the phone, when I was talking on the phone, I said, okay, I will not buy anything from this guy, But when I met him, I talked to him, and so on. I bought this product. So it's a different thing. It's not like good or bad. It's a different set of skills. If that answers your question.
It answers my question. So basically, a new set of skill set that needs to be acquired by the salespeople.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Hey, this is Jason. One point that stands out to me is, Gigi, you mentioned a lot of companies will come out of this stronger than they were before. And, you look at how many people are now forced to work remote. And I think a lot of companies you're finding realizing how much you can get by without physically being in the office, certainly for a lot of functions, maybe not like the product team, or if you're a biologist, you need to be in the office, but a lot of functions, I think people being forced to do this are realizing, I don't really need to be in the office every day to get by. And then a lot of companies, you look at the costs for real estate, and a lot of the things that a lot of companies are buying food and other things, in the office. And I expect a lot of this is going to be really tempting for companies going forward, even after COVID, to say, how do we continue some of this, offering more employees the ability to stay at home, hoteling in the office, maybe instead of a full-time desk or whatever it is. What are your thoughts on those types of things? Is that kind of what you were getting at?
Absolutely, Jason. I mean, you said it so brilliantly. I don't know what to add to this, honestly. It's like absolutely. When I say that, let's also let's catch some opportunity. Let's try to be positive and optimistic on this. Is that you are absolutely right when you are saying that there was a lot of personal meetings before and a lot of personal travel costs, right? And now, for some companies, I'm not going to mention the names. For some companies, the volumes and the revenues maybe are down, but not so much. And so now the question is coming, like for some companies that, okay, I did not invest so much in the travel, but I still have a good result. So there is a very good space for improvement there, So just to have a positive side of it, and okay, it's not about sales, but another positive side from the COVID is that, of course, it had a lot of tragedy for a lot of people. A lot of people died, but I think world became more clean now, because people are having more these disinfections and so on and so. So, like to really think from the positive side, absolutely, after the COVID ends, and hopefully it ends soon. If it ends, sorry for that, is that there will be a lot of positive aspects on it in case of it saving costs, synergies, and optimization, and so on. Absolutely.
One other thing you mentioned that I thought is way more interesting than maybe it seems is the handshake. I mean, I don't work in sales, but I mean, even after however many months this has been, when I meet somebody new, I freeze in this like awkward, weird, hitchy thing where it's like, no, I can't do that. And then I'm like a mime in the street trying to figure out what do I do. And but you're working in sales and what I mean. Expand on that, because it sounded a little like you wanted to talk more about the handshake, and it is an important cultural thing, right?
Exactly, cultural. That's what I wanted to mention. Listen, I'm come from Georgia originally. I lived for a long time in Germany, but I come from Georgia and from the Eastern Europe. And Eastern Europe, there could be a case like this. Trust me, it could be that you go to the customer and you forgot to shake hand, you know, and the customer can say, I will not buy anything from this guy. This guy even don't shake my hand. You know, like, so, you know, it's really cultural thing, but also it's like what's it, the first opinion matters a lot, right? So if you, now it's not about culture, it's about all the world. So when you go and when you shake hand, when you make the first appearance, especially in sales, I think it matters a lot, you know. So just to really start a relationship, a business relationship with the guy, it really matters a lot. And then in some cases can be also severe, you know, like I will not buy anything from this company because his representative did not shake my hand. What a disrespect, you know? So it's really interesting. Yeah. Thanks, Jason. Good comments.
Yeah.
Really good discussion.
Do you think the handshake will come back? I had an encounter the other day where I was walking with a friend of mine outside in Mannheim through the Quadrate and having our lunch. And usually we walk like with some distance. And I'm married and I have a family. The guy is single, and because we had somebody coming across, we had to walk closer to each other, and our shoulders touched. And he was like, "That was the first time I touched someone in 7 months." I was like, yeah, and that was the first time I touched someone that I wasn't like married or related to in 7 months, which was weird. But my question is, will the handshake come back? What's your opinion on that? Because the underlying question is, whenever I talk to people, be colleagues or alums or students or people kind of miss. This is the underlying message that I get a lot: is people miss human interaction, and that's part of it. Kind of.
Yeah, difficult question, I would say.
I think it will come back, guys. You know, let's be very realistic. I think it's part of human interaction. I think I think after that, you know, after the first release, that we could have a normal life again. I don't know what it was like for you guys, but it was horrible being locked into the house, entire family here, which in a way is lovely for the first few days, but you know, then you want to move on with life. And I think we're all very pleased when we could have a drink outside somewhere in a nice place in the sun and eating some nice meals. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And now we're for whatever stupid reason, because it is a stupid reason, we're all locked down because there's no, you know, I have a medical background. There's no scientific good reason to do it the way that they do it, but that is on the side. And for sure, we'll be interacting again. What I was stating earlier, our world is changing now much faster. So this last fourth industrial wave, or whatever you would want to call it, is happening right now. It has progressed much faster. So will that change business? Yes. It was mentioned before, the real estate. I think if you're invested in offices in a way, real estate, you have a big problem. What's going to change as well, for instance, if you look at Mannheim Business School or any university in the world, would really need to be adapting its setup, its business model, because I think that's going to change now very rapidly, also under the influence of. I think people have understood very well that it's not always necessary to be traveling. I had a global job. I was traveling the entire world. And sometimes you could question why I was flying to Beijing one moment, and the other moment I was heading to Colombia again. And then, so, you know, I think we'll see changes there, but in essence, the human interaction will be there. It will get probably a different form, but we're entering a new world where I think robots, any forms of there's co-ops, you know, this automation will be going much faster now, which will means that people will get displaced. Leading, and that is what I think is happening right now. They're preparing the economy for the fact that with all this automation, that a certain group of the population will no longer be able to get a job. And you know, that's where we're speaking universal basic income. That's going to be the big changes for sure, because that's what we're heading towards as far as you know, as I look at it. I may be wrong. And of course, new jobs, lots of new jobs will be created thanks to this. But you know, the automation is very much focused on how can we be smarter, cheaper, more competitive, etc. So it's going to be an interesting world. I know I put a lot in the jar, but it's simply to stimulate the discussion.
Good. Thanks.
I would like to say
Please.
something. Thank you, Gigi, for your talk.
Thank you.
And I kind of agree with everything that has been said. I thank you, Paul, for this. But I never thought of this intellectual, the artificial intelligence. But I see that coming as well. But I agree with you on that. But Gigi, you asked these 4 questions or 5 at the beginning, like everything will be the same and no big deal and so on. I understood them as kind of provocation because none of them, in my opinion, are true. But I believe really that we have no clue where we are going now. And it's just be ready for anything. And so that's my opinion. So we have, and by the way, also you talked about 97 as quiet times. I also don't agree with 97 as quiet times, but that's more a joke.
Yeah.
But what's coming next, we don't know. But I agree with you that people, companies should invest in good people and in human resources, in sales and in intelligence. And I agree also with the opening, like human to human, we need to invest in like human intelligence. And also we need human intelligence to teach the artificial intelligence what is interesting. So I believe strongly we need, yes, it will be quicker, faster, and more to do for everyone. And that's also the tendency in team building, in team coaching, which is also part of my work as a coach, is to develop stronger teams that are not anymore made out of the best single people, but out of the best combination of people. And this is something that also the business schools of the future will be dealing with. I'm a graduate of 2010 of the MBA 2010, and we didn't talk so much about human. We were not talking about human intelligence, human like emotional intelligence, and this is something that will be stronger and stronger in the future, I believe.
Well, actually, first of all, nice to meet you. Thank you for your time. It's really interesting, always meeting this kind of smart people. And then I would suggest, so I would kindly keep in touch with you and then have more discussions. Listen, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. It will be changed. The thing what I would add, whatever you said, is that, which I fully agree, is that the skills, the sales skills, I was asked about B2B, the sales skills is really depend on the human and human. So for the, of course you can learn selling, but also you have to have something in you, like I don't want to refer too much on this Jordan Belfort because I don't like him actually, but he does some good things. So that's what you said absolutely right when you said that companies should really pay attention. Firstly, who are their sales force? Who are their sales force? They have to win the projects, win the key accounts, and so on and so on. Who are on the front of their battle? Yeah, so I fully agree. Nice to meet you again. It's really interesting hearing your thoughts.
And I think there's another point to be made. We have to realize that technology will always move much faster, and I think that's what you were alluding to as well, Atli. Technology will move much faster than what the human being can follow. So they have developed right now technologies that we're still trying to understand how we could be using it. And look at China as a very nice example on how advanced China has become in controlling, in a way, even when you go through the streets, that you can get recognized, that people will get credit points at the moment that the Chinese government feels that they're not behaving properly, etc., etc. So many people think, oh no, that's not, that's far away. I said, well, be very much surprised. There's even where it's visible for you guys, the program Hunted. I don't know if it's broadcasted in Germany, a TV show. It's called Hunted, and they show, and in the Netherlands, I'm from the Netherlands, it's being broadcasted, and they show you, they let people escape and from a point, and they only need to come into the system, into the grid at certain moments, and they need to hide for 3 weeks. And they need to stay out of the hands of the search forces, the police, with their special tools. If you see what's happening there in terms of artificial intelligence and how fast that these people are tracked, and they think we haven't done anything. Everything is interconnected. The cameras, Facebook, all the spread of data that we put out there, who are our friends, they find them with us. Nobody ever really survived it because people get caught. And that is, they've even done it on a relatively superficial level. So imagine what the industry is doing right now, what they're developing. We're talking as a group, I think all of us get very much appealed by the likes of Tesla. And the information that I'm in right now shows Tesla as one of nearly the losers of that industry. They're doing very poorly in many facets, and I go like, what? And there's names there that I've never heard of, and they're leading. Imagine. So that's the world that only, if you think Tesla's hot, Tesla's already far behind. They are very behind. So there's
they are building a gigafactory here, Paul, in Germany.
Excuse me?
In Berlin. They are building a new gigafactory here in Berlin.
I know. Yeah. So you have 5 levels of automation in this field of artificial intelligence. Tesla doesn't get further than the 2nd level. And there's already many companies that are on level 5, which means they have fully autonomous. So there's no human interaction anymore intervening there. To make certain decisions within business. So that's how far they're already, and that's in terms of vehicles that I've just alluded to, because Tesla. I was like that as well, and last week I got the big surprise. And there's many of these companies that you go like, really? Are these the future leaders in that? And there's some very well-known names that we all know, and it's mostly Chinese companies and it's US companies. Wow. That's really where the power is sitting. Europe is on the side, it's on the edges, but not, there's no global leader there.
Interesting, Paul. Thanks.
Welcome.
There's another question in the chat by Shrishti.
Hey, hi, good evening.
Hi, Shrishti, how are you?
Hi, Jens. Hi, Gigi. Hello. So I'll just read my question aloud. You were talking about making the pipeline more digitally enabled, and you had this BCG graph, which is your slide number 16 or rather 15. And it had this whole framework on how you could, in the short to long term, enable yourself. But when you look at your end customers, and in a lot of industries, a lot of people in the middlemen in the sales pipeline, and a lot of end customers are not yet digitally enabled.
Absolutely.
They are not where you want them to be. And it is a huge fight to stay at different digital expertise, to have different digital expertise to serve all the different markets. Either they are already surely empowered, and some of them who are still in dark areas. Then what would you recommend?
Absolutely, Shrishti, you are absolutely right, and I think you agree with me that especially in the emerging markets, in the European Union and so on, so digitalization and the digital tools are more common, but in the emerging markets, your customer can tell you, look, man, I don't have a computer, so I cannot now sit down with you and have a web meeting. Yeah. So just bring me the product, okay, or do something, because I don't have headphones, I don't have nothing, I don't use them, and I don't like them, And so in this case, that's also something that the companies now in B2B. They should really be careful about this, and then really should think that I can have a customers, and I can have even a big key accounts, and which they are not digital friendly, and they are not, let's say, digitally set up at all, in some emerging markets, or not enough digitally set up, let's say. So that's something that the company should really strategically think about, and then think about what to do about this. So, for instance, if I'm not able to have a meeting with one of the important customer with let's say web meeting, and also I'm not able to meet them personally, and what should I do? I mean, how should I, let's say, bring the information? How should I sell the new product? So these are the things that the companies really should. And if you are asking me what's the ideal situation and what's the ideal solution, my answer is I don't know. This is something that, you know, the one thing is clear, that we have to do everything to meet all our customer needs, and, you know, to find any possible solution to, because every company, let's say, lives because of their customers, you know, of their revenue. So that's my opinion. Seriously, sorry if I'm not able to answer you in specific for that.
Did you have any situation like that with your current set of key accounts you're working with, and any use case you can share?
Look, listen, we are international company. We are worldwide. You know, we are in emerging markets, in mature markets. We are very much represented in Africa, yes, and so in Africa, as you might agree, you know, it's not as digital friendly as, for example, in Europe. So we are doing now our best to really, by following all the instructions on the safety side, but really to deliver all the products, you know, to our customers, and to we don't have too much web meetings there, but, you know, to really have the personal meetings, but with very careful, let's say following all the rules and all the things. So and we are one of the successful companies. We are doing really good during this pandemic. So we are having these challenges in African region, but we are improving.
Thumbs up.
Ooh.
Okay. All right. You guys, if there are no further questions. Thanks, Gigi. That was impressive.
Yeah, thank you, and to all of you. It was really good to meet you guys all and speak to you. And let's keep in touch. So you will send out the presentation, yes?
We will. The thing is, we'll upload the today's video maybe in sometime next week on our MOOC platform, as always, including your contact data. I can also make sure that we include the slides there. I have them. Yeah. Okay. No further questions.
Thank you so much. Yes.
All right, Gigi. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. That was an outlook and some food for thought. I think we'll all have something to think about on our way home, or maybe during the rest of the evening. Thanks for your time. Thanks for all the preparation. We've been in contact for quite some time.
Yes.
Thanks everybody else for being here. Thanks for the questions and for the insights. And please all stay healthy and safe. And I hope to see you all soon, maybe tomorrow night in the Tech and IT Club, or maybe next week in the private MBS community, or at homecoming, or wherever. And hopefully, maybe soon again in person, right? I'd be happy to shake all your hands once that's safe again.
You need special skills for that.
Not that it had been very safe before, but no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, hope to see you all soon. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
See you guys. Nice to meet you. Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers. See you.